We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a walk-off grand slam or a base hit to center field. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock and the Pavilion with me, your host, Stephen Wallace, as we get ready for the men's T20 World Cup. Today we welcome back Simon Finch, known as Finchy, the Barmy Army trumpeter, who previously joined us on episode 244, All You Need Is Cricket and a Trumpet. Do check it out, as it features a great cricket story about Colin Firth in Love Actually. On today's show, Simon reflects on his recent trip touring India with the Barmy Army. The food, the culture, the music, and yes, some cricket, all packed into 45 minutes. Plus, as it's a World Cup pod, Simon looks ahead to a week in Barbados. Lucky chap, where he will be blowing his trumpet at the Kensington Oval. To begin in proper Barmy Army fashion, it's time for Jerusalem. Welcome back to the Paddock and the Pavilion, Simon.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for having me for the second time.
Yes, a reprise. How are you, and what have you been up to after returning from India?
Well, since returning from India, it's been I came straight back. I had a week at home, just kind of catch up and reacquaint myself with my family, and then I went away for 8 days with one of my regular musical projects called the Johnny Cash Roadshow, which does what it says on the tin. So in that, I play piano, keyboards and trumpet. Because there's about 5 or 6 songs that have Johnny Cash songs that have trumpet in. Obviously, Ring of Fire being one of them. Another one being Daddy Sang Bass and a few others. Ghost Riders on the Storm. So the rest of the time, I'm playing keyboards. Anyway, that was an 8-day tour around Holland, Belgium, and northern Germany.
So no bucket hats and shorts there then?
Absolutely. God, no, it was, that band, we do 2 tours a year. We work all in the UK all through the year, doing theatres and the like, but we get booked for 2 European tours. One's in March and one's in November, and it's always Brassic every time we do it. It just seems to be impossible to get gigs in hot countries with that band. Although a few years ago, he was offered one in India, but he turned it down because he didn't fancy travelling. So, he pays your money, takes your choice. But yeah, so I did that, and then I got back, and then the 2 days after that went on a much needed family break. Spent some time with my family, went to Ibiza for 8 days, a nice all inclusive with Pretty, my other half's her mum, plus my mother and father, and Pretty's auntie. So we had some nice, like I say, a all-inclusive apartment on the east coast of Ibiza. And we did that, and then I got back, and I've just been gigging and working the studio. As you know, I might have mentioned last time, I'm also sort of a music producer, a record producer. So I've been finishing projects that have been hanging over my head for a while. And yeah, just back in the freelance world.
So you haven't got to watch any cricket yet, then?
No, I was a bit cricketed out, to be honest, after India, and I'd watched a little bit of IPL, and if I'm honest, it's just been so predictable. It's just been absolute six fest, isn't it? It's unbelievable. I think this kind of new impact player rule has really made a big difference on the game over there. So I've watched a bit of that, but no, not a lot of cricket really. But gearing up for the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, we're going to come on to that. But to start with, you're talking then about India. Was it everything you thought it would be?
Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. It was a thrill, an honour, pretty life-changing. I mean, life-changing in some ways. In terms
you became a celebrity, I thought.
What? Yeah, I mean, I'm not so much in terms of life-changing stuff. That is more about observing and how people live in that country and what we have over here, and how can I put this kindly? How well, kind of entitled. We have a certain sense of entitlement in the West, you know. can the sort of the fury that we feel sometimes when things don't quite go your way, because India is very unpredictable, wonderfully so, I have to say, that it can cause a lot of indignation when things aren't quite right, and I just thought to myself, wow, I find myself falling into the trap of complaining and moaning when things aren't quite going right in life, whatever. And you go over there, and some people just haven't got the pot to do the proverbial in, and yet they're smiling and getting on with it and have great spirituality and a sense of self and well-being, and a great sense of community and family that I felt that I could learn a lot from, and it was just a wonderful thing to be there. And I think I came back from it, I think, with a new perspective on life and a certain newfound happiness, actually. With
quite humbling, then.
Yeah. To put it into in a word, yes. It was wonderful, and also to be, just to spend 7.5 weeks in the country of my other half's family. Because my other half, Priti, she's her mother's Indian heritage, Punjabi, and to be there and to be able to phone home and talk to her family, and then her family seeing me on the telly and seeing me immersed in Indian culture, and it was very I think it brought everyone a lot closer together, actually.
And they're mad about cricket.
They are mad about cricket. They're also mad about cricketers. I think that's a crucial thing that it's didn't really understand properly until I was actually there, that this is a code, it's a truism, but they almost love cricketers more than cricket. Do you know what I mean? They've the kind of the hero worship they have for the demigods, the Tar, Rohit Sharma, that Virat Kohli. I mean, Dhoni's still huge there, and he hasn't played Test cricket for donkey's years. But they have such love and respect for their heroes. Bumrah, Jasprit Bumrah, that's a good word. Bumrah, the amount of the love they have and the obsession they have with him is huge. But they do love their cricket knowledgeable. They're also a lot of the fans know a lot about cricket from all over the world. We had many Indian fans who would come and sit with us, the Barmy Army, because they would just love what we were doing. The passion that we have for the game was very relatable for them. So much so that on occasions, particularly, every grand actually, we had Indian fans coming and sitting with us now within our seat allocation, and some of them after a couple of days were saying, "Because of you, Barmy Army, we're now England supporters. England," and they were trying to learn our songs and coming up with their own new songs in the spirit of Barmy Army song. So yeah, it was wonderful. That was great. That was one of the most gratifying experiences of the whole trip, was watching the fans, the incredibly partisan fans, joining us and becoming almost on side with us in some cases. I mean, there were still elements of a lot of there was elements of ribbing and Mickey taking, and that goes with it. But it was all very, very good natured. Actually, totally to a man. It was completely good natured. And a wonderful experience.
You were playing some Bollywood tunes as well, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I know some songs because, well, I always make a point of learning a local tune or two for all away series that we do. I think it's important. I think that's important. My role as Barmy Army trumpeter is to be inclusive and to make to bring the two partisan sides together and find a common ground. But in this case, I knew a couple of Bollywood songs because my mother-in-law, actually where I am now, it's in my mother-in-law's house. My studio's here, and I can hear in the background. She's a bit deaf. She had to tell you I'm quite loud. I can hear Sony India TV. So there's always Bollywood on, or Indian soap operas. So I'm picking up, and she has a few favourites that she plays a lot. So I know I've picked up the tunes, either by osmosis, so to speak, or by thinking, oh, I like that song. What's that? And I'll ask her, and then I'll listen to it a few times and learn it. So I went there kind of slightly pre-prepared, and it went down an absolute storm. It went down really well. And I like to think that it helped fuse together Anglo-Indian sort of relations on the tour.
You're almost a Barmy Army ambassador, aren't you?
I think Millard said that, actually. He said, I'd like to see you as some sort of ambassadorial. I mean, that does sound a bit highfalutin, doesn't it, really? But, I mean, I'm
in a bucket hat as well, yeah.
I'm an ambassador in a bucket hat. Yeah. So it's not exactly the usual diplomatic garb, is it?
Did you get some new songs for these new players, Tom Hartley, Bashir, and did you have one ready for Gus Atkinson?
No, we didn't have a Gus song. We had Tom Hartley's song was actually his song for I think it was Ormskirk. It's Ormskirk he's from, isn't it? His local Ormskirk CC. It was a song that they used to sing for him. I Want to Dance with Tom Hartley, based upon I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. It was on social media. Basically, a couple of guys, Randy Caddick mainly, aka Rob Lewis, plagiarized massively. I wrote some more words for it, which is good. It went down really well. And then what's the other one we had? Oh, Show of Bashir. There was a few ideas knocking around. That tends to be that there's a little bit of, that's where rivalry comes in within the Barmy Army, because you get a few songwriting factions, and of course everyone likes their own brand, don't they? So you'll get someone will write a song and then they'll start singing it, and then someone else comes up with something that could be a bit better, possibly better, but then they don't sing it because, I didn't write it. But no, I mean, I'm kind of slightly joking, but there is so we had a few entrants for a Show Bashir song. We had one which was based upon Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, Show Bashir. We're just England fans singing in a foreign land year after year. But it's lovely, but it's a bit dreary. And then another one came up, I think it was Chaz from Stafford came up with the idea of Show Bashir as from Brimful of Asher by Corner Shop. So it's one show with Basher on the England side, one show with Basher, he'll take 4 or 5, etc., etc. And that went down pretty well. But yeah, we didn't know one for Gus, unfortunately.
So that's why he wasn't selected for that 5th test, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. If you don't have a song, you don't play. Simple as, I think.
So he got a call from the Robert Key, and that's why he didn't get picked.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, Finchy, we just heard that you ain't got a song for Gus, so he's not going to play.
What was it like at Dharamshala? Was it cold?
Yeah. It was all types of temperatures at the same time, because depending on where you were in terms of the area, because the area is called is Himachal, and so you've got sorry, my brain's gone. MacLeod Ganj, which is Little Tibet. which is where the Dalai Lama's official residence is, and it's the tourist area. Lots of Tibetan goods, bars. You can get alcohol there. Of course, essential for Barmy Army and for a lot of Western tourists. So there's that, which is sort of halfway up. Then you have Dharamsala itself, which is down the hill, which is where the ground is, and that's much warmer because you're not so high up. And then up from the mountain from McLeod Ganj is Nadi, which is where I stayed for the first week, because I was there for a week before the game started, just hanging out and just soaking up the Himalayas, really. And that's cold. In fact, there was some snow when I arrived. But the grounds itself, it wasn't as cold as people thought it was going to be. Like, there was all these stories on the internet about it being, oh, it's freezing out there now. It's -5 tonight. Yeah, it was like about 5 weeks before the test match actually started. But by the game started, it was their sort of spring starting. So it's fine.
Were there lots of differences between the 5 grounds?
Oh, yeah, huge. Every ground was completely different. Various states of repair as well. Sorry, to anyone from the BCCI listening. I mean, it's just is. I mean, like, for example, the ground at Dharamsala was just beautiful, immaculate, wonderful. I mean, the pitch was just this one. I mean, all the pitches were great, actually. Great to look at. They're all really lush and green. The outfields. But that was the facilities were great there as well. Really good facilities. It was much like it felt like a bit like a kind of Indian Lords. They'd taken that care of attention to the surrounding areas and the concession areas and the food availability, and there's lots of plants. It's quite a green area. There's lots of plants and stuff. It was lovely. Same with Ranchi. Again, Ranchi's ground was the same. It was like a jewel in the crown of the Jharkhand region in India. It's wonderful, really beautiful. And the vantage spot we had at Ranchi, because it's got very high seating, so we were placed behind the bowler's arm at right at the very top. So we had this almost bird's eye view down on the whole pitch, and also you could, if you stood in the right place, you could actually look down and be exactly in line with the cut strip, and that was wonderful. Whereas other grounds, I won't mention them.
There's only 3 others.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, because just think. But I mean, some of the most shocking things I've ever seen in my life.
What about sightseeing? Did you get time to? You had a couple of breaks, didn't you?
Yes. So there was 2 tests back to back, Hyderabad and then Visakhapatnam. For those who don't know, Visakhapatnam is an up-and-coming city on the east coast, on the Bay of Bengal. It's had a lot of money pumped into it by the government. I think there's 11 cities that have been allocated loads of money by the Indian government as being potential super cities, super high-tech, modern towns, and Visakh's one of them. I think Ranchi is another, actually. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful place. It's on the coast. Gets a good seafood. Great atmosphere. Ground was fun. Yeah, lovely. So anyway, that was the first 2 tests, and after that we had 10 days off. So I went to Goa on my own. I went to Arambol, which is North Goa, which was the birthplace of the kind of Goa hippie kind of life about 25 years ago. So that's great. That was really good, because I met met some musicians, hung out on the beach when there's lots of live music there. So I went to jam sessions, met some songwriters, met some guitarists, and did some kind of TikTok things and Instagram things on the beach, just going out and playing to people who sat on the beach. And had a good time there, just on my own. I had a scooter, just bezzed around the place for about a week and a bit, and then flew into, where was the 3rd test? Oh, my mind's gone.
Rajkot was.
Oh, Rajkot.
Yeah.
Which again that's ground was very different, very big. Right out of town, you have to drive up this motorway. They call it the Rajkot Superhighway. New road out of the old town, which anyone that came on the previous test door when they played in Rajkot would not have seen. They've actually built a proper sort of motorway out to it now, which is which is where I was staying. The apartment I booked on booking.com was, shall we say, slightly different from the photos advertised on the website. And it wasn't that great. And it turned out it was actually on the motorway. It was quite noisy. But that was so I went to Rajkot after that. And then we had then it was straight to Ranchi for test 4, and then we had another gap. But this time I went from Ranchi on day 6, basically, of Ranchi, the day after the game, and then went straight to Dharamshala and was there for about a week before even anyone else arrived, just hanging out and just looking around and getting some fresh air and a bit of peace and quiet, and kind of decompressing from the intensity of a town like Ranchi, which is it's the sort of town that you'd imagine India, sort of an Indian. It's what you'd imagine I imagine in my head an Indian town to look like. Very engaging, a lot of horns, a lot of people, hot, loads of shops, loads of great food, hustle and bustle, cows wandering the streets. Wonderful, brilliant. But it was nice to decompress after a bit of that.
You became a bit of a celebrity, Simon, in India.
Yeah, it was amazing, really. A bit of a social media sensation. I think part of it was the fact that it was the genuine novelty of it. Going to India, the Indian fans and even the authorities didn't really know much about the Barmy Army. So to see an English guy with an instrument standing up and to have the balls to be able to do that, and in that in an atmosphere which can be quite febrile and feral sometimes, but in a good-natured way, to do that and to play and to see the passion that the England fans had as a result of our singing and getting behind the team became quite a thing. And in India, as you know, the Indian affinity with Bollywood, the Bollywood influence is immeasurable in India in so many different ways. You see it with the cameramen in the stadiums, the guys working for the host broadcasters, like they direct the audiences. I mean, they don't, in English, like Sky Broadcasting and other host broadcasters will scout the ground with the cameras trying to find something interesting. Whereas they'll go up to in India, go to a group of fans and like get them to stand together and write this out. The count to 3, I want you all to go, way, and then they'll do it, and then they'll go, no, good, do it again. It's like a film set. That's how they do it. So they have this big love of the visual medium. So anyway, Chuck, who is our digital creator for the Barmy Army, he and I are very close. We work very closely on these trips, and he's got great ideas. Just started posting clips, obviously, of the tour, and then there were lots of other Indian digital creators who had accreditation from the BCCI in the grounds, doing their own Instagram live things and daily reports from the grounds and fan vox pops in the ground, and they naturally gravitate towards me. So I was getting some interesting and very nice kind of airplay from and social media airplay from those creators as well. But the funny thing about it is one of the funny things was that I was getting asked a lot about how come I know these Indian songs, and I say because my other half is Indian. And in India, there's the thing about when you talk to people, they ask a lot of quite what we would regard as personal questions quite early on, like, have you got a wife? Have you got children? Like, but really early on, within meeting someone. So there'll be the questions like, so have you got a son? I said, yeah, I've got a child. Have you got a wife? No, not a wife. I don't think it's really acceptable to be married or have children, not be married. So after a while, I was finding ways of saying, yes, I've got a son, but my other half is Indian, but she's not my wife. Anyway, this one time, so I'd say my partner, or I'd say my mother-in-law is Indian, and so whatever. So I know the songs. But then I was talking, there was one particular interview that I did with a local sports reporter. I think he worked for one of the big newspapers, actually. and I said, my wife-to-be is Indian. Right. Anyway, typical. That was the one post. That was the one interview that I did that her family saw. My other half, Pretty, my girlfriend, the mother of my son, saw. And then all of a sudden, Pretty's mum started getting texts from the family saying, "What? You never told us? What, they're going to get married? What?" I was like, so she's like fielding all these text messages from the family saying, like, she's like, "I've not heard about this. What?" And what's funny about it is that there's been, she's been putting a little bit of pressure on over the last couple of years for us to get married, saying, it's not the done thing, the son needs, it's good for your son. So we're at the game in Ranchi, and my phone goes off on WhatsApp, and it's like, oh, Rita's texted, Pretty's mum. And it says, "Simon, you have to get married this year. No excuses." That's all it wrote. I was like, what? What's this all about? And what it was this particular post that had gone viral across the Indian social media, which all her Indian cousins follow, and then they saw it and they started posting on all our family WhatsApp groups, and it just went crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was wonderful. Some of the stuff we were getting, some of the hits we were getting for social media were fantastic. And a couple of times, where was it? It was in a couple of towns. I can't remember exactly where. I got stopped on the street by Indians and just saying, "Are you Mr. So, getting stopped on the street getting stopped and recognised the street in a country of 2 billion people. I don't know what it means, but it means something.
So when you got back, did you propose straight away?
Not straight away. The funny thing about it was that I actually had planned it. I'd had planned to propose in Ibiza. This is before we booked the holiday before we went to India, so I was always going to propose anyway. In fact, I bought the rings in Goa before any of this kind of social media storm happened. But yeah, yes, I did propose, and thankfully she said yes. So we are going to get married at some point, and we were going to join Lords, but they want £30,000, so we can't afford that for a wedding.
Well, congratulations! You were also in the Daily Telegraph with a Nick Holt advert with a bit more about Love Actually as well.
Oh yeah. Nick's a lovely guy, and he's a fantastic journalist. I mean, him and Will McPherson were out there from the Telegraph, both incredibly knowledgeable, articulate, insightful. That's the word I was going to say about Simon Mann. In most insightful pundit on the game. Yeah, great. And he just wanted to we had lunch one day, and he said, "Can we do a piece for the Telegraph on you?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he wanted more about my music career more than the sort of the cricketing side of things, because the cricketing side of things has been told in various platforms such as your podcast.
Because I noticed Colin Firth got a mention again. Oh
yes, yeah, that's right, yeah. But yeah, the Love Actually thing, that's funny. I keep forgetting about that, but it just suddenly pops once in a while. It's one of those things that people seem to latch onto and sort of like laugh about more than anything else.
You can imagine Jonathan Agnew trying to get Colin Firth on, in the lunch interval during the Test match special, unless he's already been on.
Oh yeah. I mean, he'd be a natural for that, wouldn't he? He'd be the perfect guest. Yeah, he would be the perfect guest for that.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a walk-off grand slam or a base hit to center field. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a walk-off grand slam or a base hit to center field. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your first trip to India, you'd still recommend it for someone going on a Barmy Army tour or any tour?
Oh yeah, any day. I mean, it's wonderful. It's just if you get we had people coming and going through. There was on the whole trip. There was, apart from myself and Chuck, who worked for the company, who were the only two of us from the Barmy Army itself organisation, who did all 5 tests. But there were a few members did all 5 tests, and there was a lot of people independently travelled, and we'd all say that we'd do it again. And I would highly recommend it. The thing to go to India with is an open mind and expect the unexpected, because if you go there expecting things to work the way they do over here, forget it. It's just different. You just have to get your head around that. It took me a while, but it took me a week to get my head around the fact that things just don't work the same. Although, I mean, I've travelled to Pakistan, I've been to places like that, and I've travelled the world as a musician as well, and been to some quite crazy places like Thailand and Indonesia have a similar kind of hustle and bustle and a very confusing confusing way of life to someone as a mollycoddled Westerner like myself. But if you go there with an open mind and an open heart and a big smile, it's all there for you. And of course, the food. I mean, it's just Indian food in India. Oh my God, it's just the best. And I get amazing Indian food every day. I mean, most days of the week because of my mother-in-law. Because my mother-in-law lives five doors from us, so we have dinner here every night, and she cooks like half the week. So I get the most amazing Punjabi food all the time. But then to go to India and have it, it's just particularly in Rajkot. The food in Rajkot, Gujarati food, Kadhiawali and Gujarati food. Kadhiawali is one of the kind of local indigenous tribes of Gujarat, I think. And their food is just it's amazing. And it's pence. We went to probably the most fancy restaurant in Rajkot one night. Most exclusive place. You have to do the queues to get in this place, and it's all like fine dining, white tablecloths, busy. And the 4 of us went, and we ate way more than we should have done, uncomfortably so. And we spent about £8 each. It's just amazing. So yes, I recommend it. And also, if you go with Barmy Travel, Barmy Army Travel, we have certain events that are for our members. Like for example, things you wouldn't normally get. Like, for example, we had for our pre-test party in Dharamsala, we had Graham Swan as our special guest in the Q&A with Graham, which is all, he's done a few before, I think, for us, and they're always entertaining. And what's good about Graham is that he says at the start of the evening, at the start of his Q&A, he says, right, everybody, phones off. If you turn your phones off, I can tell you stuff.
We don't want to hear those on here.
But with absolutely no fear of going on social media, so I can be honest with you. And he was. So that's the sort of stuff you get with Barmy Army Travel.
We better talk about some cricket. Was it a series of missed opportunities, or did we deserve to lose 4-1?
It's quite a tricky one. I've thought about this a lot, because being there, it's very disappointing to lose 4-1, and it looks bad on paper 4-1.
We were competitive, weren't we?
Yeah. It was heartbreaking because there was a chance that we could have gone into the last test with it being 2-2.
When there were 7 down for, was it 170 odd, trailing by over 100? Yeah.
Yeah, in Ranchi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to go 1 up was just unbelievable, and it was it was disappointing, but to go to India and win. I mean, it's obviously I'm pre-programmed to be the optimist and for Barmy Army for England, because that's what I'm about. It's just support England. That's just what I do, and I won't take any crap from anybody about saying I'm going to know this, that, and you get moaners and haters and stuff. And I just shut up, just be positive. It doesn't cost anything to be positive. I I'd rather be positive and wrong than miserable than right, you know. So yeah, it was disappointing, but at the same time, you can understand it totally. I mean, to win the first test was just a dream. It was just crazy. It was
that was the unexpected, like you were saying.
Totally. And I mean, considering we went there with basically two spinners who never, three cricket, two spinners and virtually never played bloody cricket. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and then to go there and win the first test was incredible. And for Bashir, for Shoaib and Tom Hartley and Ray Armin as well, who did great, particularly Ranchi, was for them to perform the way they did was way beyond what I really thought they would. I think many people did. The biggest disappointment, I think, was probably the batting didn't really kind of crack on the way that we thought it would. Once a few kind of sort of silly, kind of like unfortunate dismissals took place, they seem to happen again once too often, and that was disappointing. And they're disappointed with it as well, because I could spoken to them, and we had with us as a Barmy Army travel customer, we had Graham Duckett, Mr. Ben Duckett's father, with us. So I got to know him a bit and just chatting to him about Ben and stuff. And yeah, and he was, obviously they were disappointed with the way it went at the end, but I think they're all very proud of themselves as well, with the fact that with how they did hold themselves, and how in fact it was actually more competitive than the 4-1 would initially imply.
As someone who was there, as you say, for all 5 tests, who would be your player of the tour for England?
Oh, me? Oh, I'd say, I don't know. Do you know? I don't know.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of, I suppose Tom Hartley was really good, but when Shoaib came, I think Shoaib was just a little bit kind of, although he didn't achieve as much as Tom Hartley did, I think he was just that extra, had that little bit extra about him. That said, Zach Crawley, brilliant again. Ollie, I mean, if you're looking at individual scores, Ben Duckett's century and Ollie Pope's centuries were just magnificent. I really can't single out anyone as being a favourite. I'm sorry. Sorry if that's disappointing and a disappointing answer, but I can't.
Check out my other 2 World Cup podcasts with Brian Masaba, the captain of Uganda, and leading USA batter Andries Hoes, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google, Spotify, or on our YouTube channel. But let's talk World Cup cricket with Simon. And to get you in the mood, here's Caribbean Queen and We Are Going to Barbados. Enjoy the rest of the show, and don't forget to subscribe to the Paddock and the Pavilion. And now the World Cup, you are going.
I am going for a short part of it, yes. I'm going for the first couple of games in Barbados. Barbados, I mean, that's just like, it's like an England home game away, if you know what I mean. It's just the amount of England fans that go to Barbados games is, they sell out. England fans sell out the Kensington Oval pretty much single-handedly, usually. So that's going to be fantastic. And I'll see a lot of familiar faces there. So looking forward to that. So yeah, I'll be there for the Scotland game and the Australia game. So I think I fly out on the 3rd of June and then I get back on the 12th, I think.
That's not a bad little break, is it, playing Scotland and Australia?
Yeah. So 2 games in 8 days. Lord knows I'm going to fill my time in Barbados. There's nothing to do.
Though you did say on my last podcast that the Caribbean is the place to watch white ball cricket.
I think it is, yeah, in my experience so far. Not been everywhere, but it just is something else. And the trumpet really works in the Caribbean as well. It really sort of like slots into the spirit of the Caribbean very well, particularly in Antigua, where you've got the Iron Band, as they're known, with the resident group that sit in front of the scoreboard with their bits of old car parts and washing machines and whatever they've managed to fashion into musical instruments, and a snare drum and a cowbell, and then just play pretty much all day. And it's brilliant, you know. It's fantastic. And they're really good. They're good. They've got really good feel and a really good groove. And they're not that loud either, because they take it easy because they've got to play all day, so they need to keep the stamina going. So I just slot in with those guys and just stand by them and then just start playing. They're like an accompaniment to the Barmy Army songs. You know? It's brilliant. So Antigua's the one. I mean, the last tour we went on in out there in December, I had to miss the first game in Antigua because I was on tour with Johnny Cash Roadshow in a snow Sweden, if you remember. So I had this suitcase that was bipolar, you know, imagine. It's like, you know, one half of it was like woolly hats and gloves and scarves, and the other half was sandals and swimming trunks and sunglasses. But I missed the first game, and people at the second game would come up to me, "Oh mate, you're here." Oh, it's people I'd never met before going, "Oh, we were looking for the trumpet and there was no trumpet, what's going on? There was no atmosphere, Finchy." And that was stunning. That was just something else. It was almost a little bit tear-jerking. It was so humbling to feel that, and that I really did made a bit of difference when I, you know, the trumpet.
They'll be saying that this time in match 3 and match 4. Where's Finchy, won't they?
No.
He won't be there.
No, I won't. No.
Bad news for you though. Mark Wood's playing. Bad news for you. Mark Wood's going to be there, so you're going to be shaking up Woody.
I know, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. That's a bit of a... Well, that's a good way to keep in practice, actually, because, like I say, I'm a pretty fervent practicer when I'm at home. You know, I put an hour and a couple of hours every day. So, but in the Caribbean, that's quite hard. So to have him playing, he's like my personal lips gym. Playing that song, it is like I come off the after a week of playing playing the trumpet when he's bowling, like with lips like blinking. I don't know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger has biceps. So,
does Mark Wood know this, that it's hard work?
Well, I wouldn't expect much sympathy, because I mean, what he does is much harder work than what I do. So I'm sure he would not care one jot. There was a great moment in I can't remember which test it was. There's one test when he was it Ranchi? Yeah, it was Ranchi when he did that. I think it was Ranchi who did that ridiculous spell in the morning. Like, that was the thing, like, a frustrating thing about India. Like, it was the morning sessions where things really happened, and so that was when that's when you really get your hopes up. And then something would happen in the afternoon. They'd managed to turn it around, because India are so actually good. They're a really good team. But he walked off after one of these long bowling spells, and he done one. He's like walked off, and he just looked up at all us England fans and went, "I'm bloody knackered." Just walked off, you know. And he was, to be fair.
Are England going to retain the trophy?
I don't see why not. Like I say, it's T20 cricket. I mean, I don't think we've got. I mean, look at our team on paper. I mean, you know, we've got Butler and Salt at the top, both powerhouse. Salt got 2 centuries last time they were in the Caribbean. I saw them both, absolutely cracking. Butler's found some form in the IPL. Jack's at 3. Jack's has been knocking it out of the park recently. We've got, and they're small grounds, so it's going to be about who scores the most sixes. And we've got the players that we've got Chris Jordan. He's got, I mean, the way he covers the field, he's just like no one else, really. And you know, he's in his mid-30s, and he's still arguably the best fielder in the world, really, up there among the top 3 anyway.
We could have Jofra as well.
Yeah, he'll play. God, imagine that. Imagine him in Barbados. The atmosphere would just be off the scale. Yeah, I know we've got a chance. Of course we have. Absolutely. we're world champions. We were double white ball world champions until November.
Yeah, let's hope we go better than the 50 over World Cup.
Yeah, let's say about that better.
And then you're coming home, I guess, for some more gigs before the test matches.
Yeah. So this summer I'm out with doing some touring with Billy Ocean this summer.
Oh, Caribbean Queen, yeah.
Caribbean Queen, yeah. And
so will you be playing that obviously in Barbados? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll give it a go. Yeah. Good idea, actually. Never thought of that. So there's that, and there's he's from St. Lucia?
Suddenly,
that's one of his. And when the going get tough, love really hurts without you.
Yeah, I'm showing my age here. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm out with Billy this year. We're doing the Rewind festivals up and down the country. He's doing he's got his regular band, but he's doing the thing. He's adding in a kind of a bigger brass section, some strings, and augmenting the whole thing. So we've got a few of those. So I'm doing that, and then we've got home summer, which I won't be involved. I'll only be involved in half the games because of the way the cards have fallen this year. Of course, Lords
and Trent Bridge. Yeah.
Lords, no trumpet. Some interesting. Lords is an interesting one. I'm getting married later on this year, and we still haven't found a venue. So I was gonna. So I thought, I'll see if I can. Now you could book a long room at Lords, can't you, for weddings? So I made some inquiries. So I thought it'd be great, and I thought it'd be a great sort of opportunity just to go and say the only way the Barmy Army can get their trumpet player in is if he gets married at Lords, and get some footage of me playing my trumpet. Somehow at my wedding, somehow get out on the ground and do it on the stands. But as you can imagine, Lords is extremely expensive to hire for any kind of event. And then you get you say the W word, wedding, and everyone just goes, right, double the price.
So you're not getting married at Lords. What about any women's internationals?
Not that I know of at the moment. It tends to be in the last year it was just a last minute affair. So these things tend to happen last minute sometimes. So I don't know about that at the moment, unfortunately. I hope so. But no, at the moment I'm just doing the Oval, Old Trafford and
Edgbaston.
Edgbaston, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a test match starting on the 26th of July at England West Indies at Edgbaston. I guess that's your first day.
It's my first day, yeah. I can't believe I'm going to have to wait till near the end of July to actually do that in the UK again. Seems odd to be that long, to wait that long to do it again, but home. But yeah, I mean, Edgbaston's the place to do it, really.
It's a good place to start. It's your debut as well, wasn't it, Edgbaston?
It was, yeah. It was. Yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place to watch Test cricket. And if it's a great place for the music, I get a lot of support there. We get the Barmy Army as an organisation have a good relationship with Edgbaston, Warwickshire. So we'll be there with all our fantastic new merchandise for the summer as well, which tends to fly out the border cabin when we're there. So that's good.
You'll be back in your bucket hat and shorts, and in fact, you'll be back in your bucket hat and shorts very soon, at the beginning of June. Enjoy the sunshine and the Caribbean atmosphere in Barbados, and thank you again for being on the Paddock and the Pavilion.
This is my absolute pleasure. Just want to say that if anyone if people are thinking about coming out to the Caribbean last minute, we have some very competitive packages available for hotels and flights and tickets, and plus special events that we put on in the Caribbean. So yeah, if get in touch with barmyarmy.com. Also, you can look me up on socials as well. Say hi, Finchy the Barmy Army trumpet on Instagram. I'm looking forward to it again. I love what I do. It's the best gig in the world for me. So blessed, basically. But thank you, Stephen. Thanks for inviting me on again, and hopefully speak to you again before the winter.
Definitely, yes. Hopefully, yes.
We've got Pakistan, and then we go out again to the West Indies again in November, and then New Zealand in December.
One of these days I'll meet up with you in person. Thank you very much again for being on the show.
Thank you, Stephen. All the best.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.